Okay, as requested, I'm going to show you some of the tuning you can do in iRacing. I'm in the C6R Corvette, and here's the tuning screen. You can do, obviously, all your cold pressures you can change. They give you last hot pressure, outside, middle, inside temperatures of the tires after you've run them, and how much tread you have remaining after running it. This is real time on what the car's doing, but the car, I didn't drive it, so they're all static cold pressures and cold temperatures and all that. Go to chassis. It's really involved. There's a lot of things you can change, a lot of things you're familiar with, some things you're not. Change your toe in, your ARB, brake bias. What's cool in these screens is when you make changes, they change real time. And you can see my corner weight here is flickering. That's because, I guess the suspension's kind of settled, or not all the way settled, just like in real life. So if you make a change, like for example, if I change spring perch offset, that's going to change my ride height mainly. It should probably affect some corner weight too. So if I were to increase it, my ride height should decrease. It did a little bit. Corner weight changed. See, the corner weight went down, ride height went down. So when you make changes to things, you're almost chasing a moving target, because the chassis changes. When you change one thing, it affects others. So it's very involved. You can make spring rate changes. Obviously, you could do that in Forza as well. The bump stop gap affects, what is it? It says it at the bottom down here. Well, when I moved it, it went away. Look at the very bottom. It explains what each thing does, so that you're not completely lost if you don't know what adjustments you're making. On this car, front and rear suspension is, I think, identical on what you can change. All your damper settings, spring rates, alignment angles. Obviously, you can't do caster in the rear. And then you can change your fuel load, your rear ARB. Cross weight's just another one of those settings where when you make a change, this changes. It's not an adjustable thing, but it does change with when you make adjustments. And then you have various options with the wing. What else? If you make like an alignment change, you can change camber. That'll also affect ride heights, things like that. So it's important to have your corner weights maybe written down, like where they're at if you're close on a set. See how much they change. Same with ride heights when you make an adjustment, because sometimes you have to adjust something else to make up for the change. In drivetrain, you have all your gearing, and then you can change how many clutch plates you use, which affects how much the diff locks up. It says it at the bottom. You can adjust your preload on your diff. You can adjust your ramp angles. If you can read the bottom there. That's the drive side, and then this is the coast side when you're on decel. So this car has a lot that you can change. It's really rewarding if you can do it. The standard setups are really good. I mean, you could be competitive with the baseline sets that they give you for each track. So you can see they give you a whole bunch. This comes with the car. Some cars just have baseline sets, but a lot of them have track specific already built into them, so you could use them as baselines and then adjust from there. But they're pretty competitive, especially on a road course. If you can be consistent, you can get pretty far with the baseline set and just make tweaks. So that's that. From there, you can share setups. You can obviously save your own stuff like that. So there's a lot of options. It's really pretty cool. See if I can show you another car. All right, here's I used the Silverado Camping World truck as an example here for tuning. You can see I failed tech because I probably have a setup from another track, so there's something that's illegal in the setup. It's actually good that that's like that. I'll show you what happens. Okay, so my ride height's too high in the back. That's what's failing the set. I can just go into iRacing and I can load Iowa, which is where I am, and it should pass. Passed. So let me show you some things here. You already know about tire pressures. Differences between like a stock car and the C6R that I posted. You can change ballast weight. You can change your steering ratio. Lower the number, the quicker the steering. Tape configuration. Now on the truck, you can only change between race and qualifying, but on the cars, I think all the stock cars, you can change the percentage of tape. So you can really tweak how much tape you run, and that does actually affect your temps. So if you run too much tape, you can blow your engine up because you overheat it. ARB, there's a lot you can do with the ARB. You can change the diameter of it, which changes the stiffness. You can change the asymmetry of it. It says down there at the bottom what that does. You can change it from a solid or to a chain link, so it only affects one direction. If you see down bottom, it says with the chain, the ARB is effective only in left turns. You could change the link slack for the ARB link. And then this preload is another one of those things that changes as you make chassis adjustments. So you can also, what's best to do with the stock car is to disconnect the ARB, and then you can make static changes to your suspension. You know your angles and everything are more accurate to where they are, and then you can reattach your ARB, and that actually torques it. It should change some of these numbers. So these are all the same as on the C6R. All your right and left and right front adjustments. You can't change your bump stop gap on the stock car though. In the rear, you can adjust your track bar height, your truck arm mount, so the location of the truck arm mount on the axle, which affects, handling. Change your rear ratio, ARB. ARB is not connected on this track. It's, you probably actually could connect it if you wanted to loosen it up. You wouldn't want a very stiff one though, that's for sure. Same thing back here. You can change from chain to solid link. And then your preload is adjustable. There's no drivetrain adjustments on the stock car, at least on this truck, as there were in the C6R. But you can see things are different, and you can see how the setups are. If you look at my corner weights and my spring rates here, you got 1,400 pounds back there, really stiff spring in the right rear, and then a really soft spring. Really soft springs on the left side, actually in the same on the right front. So like this car is set up tight just based on the cross weights. Got all that weight on the left front, not so much on the right rear. So when you go into a left-hand turn, the right side loads up. You're going to overload the right front before you overload the right rear because of your corner weight. So this car is going to most likely push a bit. So you can, when they talk about wedge, you can change the wedging on the car with things like if I change this spring right here on the left front, my corner weight on my right rear should come up. So that came up a couple pounds. I think I'm maxed out on my spring right here. I can change the spring perch offset to bump that up too. I can lower it. So you see how the corner weight's going up. So obviously I made changes that made it illegal, but you could chase this around. I made big changes just to show you. But these things are really cool. The oval setups are really interesting because they're not like a road course setup. you make some pretty funky adjustments to get the thing to do what you want. But it's rewarding when you hit on something. So that's that.